When Huo Yuanjia was 10 years old, he was the son of a martial arts master named Endi. Despite Huo's passion for kung fu, Endi, concerned about his asthma, never allowed him to partake in training. However, determined to learn, Huo would sneak into his father's classes to grasp the basics. His only friend, Jinsun, helped by doing Huo's calligraphy homework, enabling him to train instead. Endi was the second best martial artist in their town, but a challenge from the best, Zhao, threatened his standing. Huo believed in his father's victory. During their match, Endi had the upper hand but chose not to deliver a fatal blow due to his principles. Exploiting this, Zhao dishonorably won the match, breaking Huo's heart. Subsequently, in a fight between the kids, Huo lost, vowing to restore his family's honor and become the best in Qinjin. Determined, Huo and Jinsun sneaked into his father's library, taking his martial arts book. With it, Huo trained tirelessly day and night. When he felt prepared, he challenged Zhao again. This time, a trained Huo easily overpowered Zhao, proving his strength. Years passed, Huo matured and excelled in martial arts. His father and wife had passed away, leaving him with a daughter whom he adored. Since defeating Zhao, Huo remained undefeated, easily dispatching opponents who couldn't challenge his skills. Over the years, Huo amassed a substantial following but gradually succumbed to pride, forgetting his father's teachings. He indulged in constant drinking, parties, and encouraged his disciples to prioritize enjoyment over practice. His excessive drinking sometimes led him to forget his responsibilities, even neglecting his daughter. Squandering his family's wealth and accumulating debt didn't concern him. One evening, Huo visited his friend Jinsun, now a prosperous businessman and restaurant owner. Engaging in his usual drinking spree, he treated his followers lavishly. However, Jinsun's assistant reminded him of unpaid bills piling up for over a year. Later that night, Jinsun attempted to reason with Huo, cautioning him about his reckless spending. Huo dismissed this advice, assuming Jinsun was merely being miserly. The following day, Huo encountered his greatest rival, Qin, the only one he hadn't fought. Known for defeating every opponent, Qin was widely regarded as the top martial artist. Their confrontation wounded Huo's pride. Frustrated, he took out his anger on his disciples, assaulting them during training. That night, one follower was brought to him on a stretcher, injured by Qin. Assuming it was out of spite, Huo seethed with anger. During Qin's birthday celebration at Jinsun's restaurant, Huo barged in, initiating a drinking session nearby. Despite Qin's wish to set aside their rivalry for the night, Huo adamantly refused. When Jinsun attempted to intervene, he was insulted, leading to the dissolution of their lifelong friendship. Fueled by rage, Huo challenged Qin to a fight, demanding his submission if he refused to accept. As the restaurant cleared for safety, leaving the fighters alone, an intense battle ensued, each matching the other in skill and strength. However, Huo's rage overwhelmed him, leading him to fight unfairly. Relentlessly, he pummeled Qin until exhaustion overtook him, delivering a fatal blow to Qin's chest that ended his life instantly. Returning home in the morning, Huo discovered his mother's lifeless body on her bed, a victim of revenge orchestrated by Qin's followers. Overwhelmed by grief, he wept for her before realizing his daughter was also in the house. Entering her room, he encountered a heartbreaking sight. She lay on her bed, covered in blood, clutching a small pouch she had promised to give him upon his return. Devastated by the deaths he had caused, Huo stepped out, only to learn from his disciples that the man Qin had beaten had insulted Huo's wife. Qin's actions were not out of spite but to defend his wife's honor. Filled with guilt and sorrow, Huo saw no reason to continue living. He boarded a ship, resigned to go wherever it sailed. After enduring 6 months on the streets, Huo reached a breaking point, attempting the unthinkable, only to be rescued by a group by the river. They brought him to their tribe, where he received attentive care. Despite regaining consciousness, Huo spiraled into depression, refusing to communicate. A blind woman named Moon took on the task of caring for him, concerned about his recovery. Her experienced grandmother, however, remained confident that time would heal him. One day, Moon suggested cutting Huo's hair, prompting him to leave his bed for the first time in a month. At the river, she helped him cut his hair, marking the beginning of his integration into their community. Over time, Huo contributed to the tribe, assisting with cooking, farming, and household chores. As a year passed, a romantic bond blossomed between Moon and Huo. Yet, a day arrived when a child from their tribe was caught stealing a cow from a neighboring community. The grandmother and Moon pleaded for forgiveness from the rival leader, adhering to their tradition where the offender was to be beaten until an incense burned out. Huo intervened, offering to take the punishment in place of the child. However, for adults, the punishment involved a fight against the leader. Although Huo possessed the skills to win swiftly, he refused to harm others. Initially hesitant to defend himself, Huo, encouraged by the grandmother, began to evade the leader's attacks. The following day, Huo, Moon, and the tribe's children found themselves in the field together. The children eagerly sought kung fu teachings from Huo, but he staunchly refused, aware of the perilous impact of wielding great power and desiring to maintain the peaceful essence of the village. Despite the innocent remarks of the children about the closeness between Huo and Moon, the adults brushed off these observations. One day, Moon visited her parents' graves, triggering Huo's memories of his own deceased parents and daughter, whom he had forsaken in the wake of her passing. In a better mental state now, he felt the urge to return home and pay respects at their graves. Sharing his plan with Moon, she joyfully supported him, and Huo vowed to return swiftly, asking her to await his homecoming. In the subsequent scenes, Huo ventured back to his hometown, Tianjin, finding it drastically transformed after the fall of the Qing dynasty. Partial colonization had occurred, bringing foreign influences and residents that altered the city's culture. His childhood home, now dilapidated, welcomed him with the family servant Leifu attempting to maintain its semblance, albeit creditors had ransacked the house post Huo's departure. At his family's grave, Huo expressed apologies to his father, grasping the significance of why he hadn't thrown the punch years ago to secure the title of the best player. He sought penance, visiting Qi's family shrine to bow in contrition. While navigating the city, he encountered a wrestler named Hercules O'Brien challenging Chinese locals, undefeated and brimming with confidence for his next conquest. To preserve Chinese heritage, Huo aimed to challenge Hercules, necessitating funds. Seeking aid from Jinsun, Huo apologized for past grievances and explained his monetary needs. Swiftly, Jinsun provided the required funds through an assistant. Subsequently, at the 1909 race club in Shanghai, Huo faced off against Hercules. Initially underestimated due to his smaller stature against the towering Hercules, Huo implored for an honorable and civil fight. However, a mistranslation by the announcer led Hercules to jest. Despite this, the bout commenced, and Huo swiftly gained the advantage. As the match intensified, Huo intervened to save his opponent from potential harm, earning Hercules' acknowledgement of defeat, thereby making Huo the victor. This single bout thrust Huo into the limelight, drawing attention to Shanghai, where he encountered Jinsun proposing the formation of the Qin Wu Athletic Association, in a place dedicated to teaching kung fu to Chinese students. The goal is to uphold their heritage despite constant outside pressure. However, officials from a foreign chamber are uneasy about Huo's rising popularity among the Chinese. They worry that his victories against foreign fighters might stoke anti-foreign sentiments. To ensure his defeat, they propose a daunting challenge. Huo must face 4 consecutive foreign champions in a single day. Despite knowing it's a tactic to make him lose, Huo agrees to participate. A day before the fight, he meets his rival, Japanese champion Tanaka. Over tea, they bond despite the circumstances. Tanaka, unlike those sponsoring him, is fair and respectful, just like Huo. On the day of the fight, Huo effortlessly defeats 3 opponents from around the world. Then, he faces Tanaka. They fight with their chosen weapons, Huo with a san yi gun and Tanaka with a katana. In an attempt to make it a fair fight, Huo offers to exchange weapons. The first round ends in a draw due to a weapon holdup. During a break, Huo unknowingly drinks poisoned tea from Mr. Mita, who aims to ensure Huo's loss. Despite collapsing and coughing blood, Huo insists on continuing, aware of the poison. In the final moments, almost at the brink of death, Huo, remembering his past mistakes, deals a final blow to Tanaka but stops short, holding back the deadly punch. He collapses soon after. Recognizing Huo's intentional restraint, Tanaka declares him the winner. Huo, in his friend's arms, breathes his last. Tanaka condemns Mr. Mita for his pride-driven actions, calling him a disgrace to Japan before leaving. In the closing scene, Huo's spirit reaches Moon's house, where she, despite being blind, senses his presence.